Mr. Jain, thank you very much for being on In Conversation.
Thank you very much, Lynn, and it is indeed my privilege to be here with you.
Well, thank you very much for making this time to talk to us, even though you're currently in lockdown. Let's pretend that the vaccine is found tomorrow, Mr. Jain. How soon could Indian pharmaceutical companies actually ramp up production so that all of us could actually get immunized?
It will take significant time, as all of us are aware that India contributes around 60% of vaccine production around the world. Serum Institute, which is one of the leading companies in the world, contributes to around 700,000 doses, and Bharat Biotech contributes around 300,000 dosage. But the whole production will take its own time. So we can't say that everyone can be vaccinated tomorrow, even the vaccine is discovered, because the production has got its own limitation. Distribution has got its own limitation because the vaccine have to be distributed in the cold chain and transportation. So the whole process will take time.
This, you say it will take time, but are we talking about months or are we talking about years?
The whole process, I don't think that everyone needs to be vaccinated first. The people who are in the rural areas, the people who are not infected and not likely to be infected need not be vaccinated. So we have to identify who are the high-risk individuals who requires vaccination.
So these high-risk individuals, I presume you're probably talking about healthcare people, so healthcare sector, and perhaps those who are older within our societies?
Yes, Lynn, you are absolutely right. The high-risk individuals are healthcare workers who are trying to serve our COVID patients, and they are the highest risk today because they are impacted maximum, and the risk for them is highest. And second, those who are over 60, who are suffering from comorbid disease. So when we have vaccine, from a distribution point of view, from a usage point of view, we need to have a policy that the people who are high risk individuals and who are making a difference to the society should have the benefit of vaccine first.
So
And when we are able to ramp up the facility, we should get other people in the team.
I think one of the things that most of us are interested in then is the timeline, though. So let's say these high-risk persons and the elderly in society. Are we talking about 2 or 3 months after a vaccine is found that we could get them vaccinated, at least, that first tier of people?
I don't think even in 2 to 3 months' time, it should be available in a shelf where everyone can use it. The capacity at the moment is limited. Although the companies are trying to ramp up the capacity, it will take time for production and distribution. So even the vaccine is discovered tomorrow, I think it will take around 12 to 18 months time when anyone who wants it can have it.
12 to 18 months, that takes us into 2022, Mr. Jain.
Absolutely, because even if we do the best, I don't think we can see anything earlier than 2021. And once the vaccine is discovered, once the vaccine is found out, then the first target group and then the production starts coming in, we should have the possibility of having it to the people who are high risk and the people, healthcare workers. They are the first target. So I don't think everyone can have vaccine. Also, there is likelihood, Lynn, that not only we have one vaccine manufacturer, we have 3 to 4 vaccines which are available for usage. And at the same time, we start creating the vaccine capacity around the world so we are able to reach to the goal faster.
But that means that most of our societies won't actually be able to return to what would be called normal for at least a year, perhaps, at least.
Absolutely, Lynn, the way I look at it is we have got a virus which is a dangerous virus. We have a virus which is a very cunning virus. We have a virus which we don't understand fully, which is unpredictable at the moment. We are also talking of the second wave, right? So given the fact, I don't think less than 1 year, we can assume that the life will return to normal. And hence, it is very, very important that all of us have to be cautious. All of us have to wear masks. All of us have to behave in social distancing and then the whole process will evolve over a period of time. So we can't say that by this time this will happen, because science is important and the safety of the people is important. And the trial normally, which takes 10 years time, we are trying to reduce the time period. And that's why all the companies in the world have come together. It's a great time for the pharma companies, and where we see the collaboration which is happening today to get the vaccine out. But there are limitations of the process, there are limitations of science. Even everything come together, it takes time.
Has vaccine production also become very political as well, so that individual countries want to have the vaccine first for their own citizens? And that will mean that the general amount that is available for global use will become reduced. In other words, I suppose you could call it vaccine hoarding.
It is bound to be there in any kind of this situation, although there is a lot of discussion that the hoarding part should be avoided. In fact, Bill Gates came out with a statement recently that we should make vaccines available only for high risk individuals and there should not be any politics involved. However, when the actual vaccine production take place, what will happen? Perhaps the companies which are in the countries where the vaccine development has taken place, the citizens of that country will demand that first vaccine should be available in our country. Fortunately, what is happening today is there are 150 candidates of vaccines which are being developed across the world. There are countries which are committed to vaccine research, is like US, China, Russia, India, and companies in Europe. So a lot of development which is taking place across the world. And the way I look at it, it will not be only one vaccine which will be coming out. 4 or 5 vaccines will take place. And then the dialogue will help us to ensure the equitable distribution. And it may not be 100% perfect, but there is a lot of consciousness. There is politics which is going to be involved. But at the end of the day, we'll like to find out level playing field.
That will benefit some countries that have pharmaceutical production already. For example, India doesn't seem to have much problem with that because obviously you produce so many of the vaccines. But what about the rest of us who don't have a lot of pharmaceutical production? Should we be afraid of the fact that India, China, and the United States, and even Europe might want to keep the vaccines for their own citizens, then it doesn't come out to Southeast Asia or to Africa or to South America?
I would like to assure here that the Indian Prime Minister has been always making a statement that global solidarity and cooperation is important at the COVID times.
In March, though, the Indian government said that it was going to suspend the export of a certain number of sensitive drugs. So what's there to stop that happening again?
That was a big learning for us. Initially, that time, China, the infection had just started. We were dependent on China for the supply of key starting material, and we were not very sure what will be the production. So during that time, we took a call that let's take a stock of the situation, because the people around the world, they were holding some of the supplies being made from India. Once we were able to take the stock of the situation, once the dialogue took place between the Indian industry and the government, we uplifted the restriction. And when we were able to assess the overall requirement, we started the supplies again.
But you do acknowledge that
I hope for the best. I hope for the best.
Yes.
Dialogue took place between Indian industry and the government and Indian industry started the supplies. And today, we can be proud of the fact that Indian pharmaceutical industry has been able to supply the medicine around the world during the toughest lockdown which happened in India. There is a dependable supply of medicine, and we are confident, and our Indian companies are ramping up the vaccine production, and I'm sure they will be able to supply.
Who's going to decide, though, who gets the vaccine first?
The intellectual property of the vaccine will lie with the company. So the company which has discovered the product will have the first right, and the government of that country.
But Mr. Jain, doesn't that mean that the country that discovers the vaccine first could hold all the rest of us to ransom?
Hopefully, that should not happen, because there has been a great role of the global organizations in the development of vaccine. And it is the time for the healthcare industry around the world. It is the time for the political leadership to respond. And so far, the companies have been responding in the right way. There's a collaboration which is taking place. And I think the right solution will come out.
Well, you are being very hopeful, but unfortunately, there's also the possibility that it goes the other way. It goes towards vaccine hoarding, the whole distribution of the vaccines becoming politicized, so that the country that finds the vaccine decides that the people whom they like best, in other words, the countries who work in their favor, will get it first, whilst those who are not in their favor will be further down the line.
This possibility cannot be ruled out, Lynn. And the good part of the story is that not only one country is developing vaccine at the moment. Yes, there may be first vaccine coming out, say, in the month of January, second may come out in the month of March, April, but we will have vaccines coming out, 4 or 5 vaccines, I think, and I have hopeful that there will be number of candidates which will ensure that there is a supply which is taking place all over the world.
So the important thing is that many countries keep pursuing the development of the vaccine. That will prevent at least some of this kind of holding to ransom problem developing.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right that different countries, different companies should be involved in the vaccine development. And it is a good part of the story that there are 159 candidates of vaccine which are in development stage. There are 7 and 8 candidates which are undergoing phase 1 and phase 2 human trials. So we have got choices. The chances of monopoly are going to be relatively less. So it is important that multiple places the development takes place.
It'll be fine to find a vaccine, but if it's going to be extraordinarily expensive to produce the vaccine, that's also going to be a great hindrance to many people receiving it. How in the world are we going to make sure that the pharmaceutical companies, even the ones that you're representing, don't go into price gouging, that they don't decide that, they're going to really jack up the price, everybody's going to need it, and everybody will be forced to pay?
You believe our philosophy, Len, Indian Pharmaceutical Association believes in the concept of affordable healthcare. And we have been fortunate that our member companies have been able to get HIV medicines around the world at the lower cost.
What about the existence of a black market? Could I not pay my way to get that ahead of the 65-year-old elderly lady who lives in a nursing home?
These kind of problems will come in. But over the years, over the month's time, I think the balance will come in when there may be a second or third or fourth vaccine come into the picture. What will perhaps happen when the first vaccine comes in? These kind of problems we will face it to the hilt. And at that moment, it is important that we try to build the dialogue. So by the time second or third vaccine comes in, the system becomes more equitable for everyone. Another aspect about the vaccine is also dependency.
China has a very, very large part of the what they call active pharmaceutical ingredients part of the market, the bits that are necessary for a chemical to actually work as a medicine in us. And India has that part, which is the packaging of the medicine, so that we can ingest it, that we can absorb it, we can have it as a pill, as a drop, whatever. These two countries really dominate the whole world. In fact, the rest of the world isn't producing a lot of very ordinary treatments any longer. It's produced in China and India.
As you see till now, last 4 months, we have been able to supply medicines around the world. Last 4 months, despite the strongest lockdown, we made sure that we meet our commitment. We have been supplying medicine to over 200 countries around the world, and we have been able to meet our export obligation. It's the question of the reputation, and it's the question of image at this particular moment of time. And the Indian political leadership has been communicating that we will continue to meet our obligation. So I'm confident that even in the case of vaccine development, they will live to the track record what they have demonstrated over a period of time. Because we are not talking here boundaries, physical boundaries. We are talking that anyone who deserves the medicine should get the medicine.
What about some of the Indian politicians who have pointed out that Indian pharmaceutical companies should not be so dependent on Chinese ingredients, the APIs?
From a long-term point of view, Lynn, the important thing is there is a need of diversified supply chain. You should not be dependent only on one supply. And what we are talking globally is today diversified supply chain. So for a product like the point which we talked in case of vaccine, if there is only one vaccine, it will lead to stockpiling. But if there are multiple manufacturers who are coming the vaccine and there is a choice which is available, it will lead to the equitable distribution of vaccine. Similarly, in case of APIs, so what Indian government is saying and what governments in many parts of the world are saying, that there has to be a diversified supply chain to ensure dependable supply to the medicine.
If, though, the vaccine is not going to be just one vaccine, it looks as if perhaps there are many different strains in the COVID-19. So this could be many vaccines and perhaps even revaccination, which could last for many years. Will Indian pharmaceutical companies be able to cope?
Indian pharmaceutical industry has got tremendous resilience and coping ability, which it has demonstrated. Even in HCQ case, hydroxychloroquine case, we have been able to supply, and we committed around the world that we will be able to meet the requirement. Similarly, in case of vaccination, we are Indian entrepreneurs. They are looking at the capacity of their production. And I think if there is a demand of a vaccine which is there, if there are no other solutions which are available for that time, at that time, because we are seeing, one is the vaccines, then we are seeing treatments, we are seeing plasma therapy. So there are multiple options which are being examined at that particular moment. If there is going to be a demand, I'm sure Indian entrepreneurs will find the solution of affordable healthcare.
Do you think we will reach a point where everybody in the world will end up being vaccinated? Or are we always going to be talking about a limited number of our population, our 7 billion plus population in the world being vaccinated?
I don't know at this particular moment how the situation will evolve as far as coronavirus is concerned. We are trying to understand this virus more. It is a deadly virus. The entire pharmaceutical industry has taken up the challenge. They are developing a vaccine. There is a possibility that 4 or 5 candidates will come with vaccine, and then whoever needs vaccine will have the entitlement to have that particular product. And I'm hopeful that we should be able to reach to that position towards next year.
For yourself, when do you think that you would be immunized with this potential vaccine?
I don't think that I will have the opportunity to get immunized before end of next year, because there are better candidates. I don't have any comorbid disease, so I'm not the right person to have the first right to have the vaccine. So by end of next year, I don't think I will get the vaccine if I want to have it. But by 2022, hopefully there'll be a solution where every one of us, you, me, everyone, should be able to have vaccine when he needs it.
Mr. Jain, thank you very much for being in conversation, and we hope you stay safe in lockdown.
Thank you very much, Lynn. It has been great talking to you. I wish all the very best to all our viewers in Southeast Asia. Stay safe, and I'm sure India will continue to be the dependable partner of supply of medicine. Thank you very much, and my greetings again from India to all of you. Thank you very much.